Hello everyone, this is Fulfill Your Destiny, doing this video for Metroid Prime 2 Echoes. So originally, I planned to end the game by completing it with the hard mode. That's what we've been doing this entire playthrough. But the last master is tremendously difficult, and I was trying every way to cheese it, to find out some way to get it going, but it just wouldn't do it. So I died so many times I lost count. I don't know, I want to say like in the 20s or 30s, possibly more. I'm not sure exactly what it was, but I just said, you know what, let's just switch to normal mode. So that's what we're going to do right now, what I'm currently commentating on. As we go along each stage of the fight, I'll explain sort of the motivations for my actions, sort of the takeaway of why I'm doing certain things in a particular fashion. So that's my original, that's what we've been playing on. So I was here determining which save would give me the shortest time, so I decided to go with the 9-hour and 10-minute slot. So again, this is normal mode. End game of Metroid Prime 2 Echoes. Alright, so we save in the Sky Temple. We just entered it by unlocking the gate down below. Now we're space wall jumping using these pads. We're going to enter the room where the boss is located. And there's also title screens to introduce each stage also. Okay, so here I'm scanning the boss, so I want to get that 100% completion at the end. So there's two things to scan. There's his body, and then there's also his head. So once we do that, I'm going to switch now into light beam weapon. This has a small homing feature with a full charge of it. So you aim at the tentacles and do a full charge with the light beam. Make sure to jump to avoid them when they do that sweep underneath your feet. This next phase, I have to scan it again, so it's a new phase. It's the eye. So what the eye will do is, while it's in this vulnerable state, it's going to shoot a highly intensive laser beam at you, so you want to avoid it, and then just super missile it through the cracks of its shield. And then you continue on again, so go back to light beam mode, or light beam weapon, then target the tentacles as you're able to, playing some jump rope with them. What I'll do here is I'll do a screw attack. So that does two things. When you're a screw attack, you can get away quicker, and also if an enemy touches you, you have a brief moment of like invulnerability. So again, we're going to attempt to avoid the laser beam, to focus on the weakness between the shielding. And during this point, I just like to point out that in hard mode, it does several things. So you take more damage. I'm not sure exactly what the particulars, like fraction-wise, like if it's double, or whatever it may be, but you take more damage, and the bosses, well, the enemies in general, are more tankier, so they take less damage. So I believe I calculated it, in hard mode, if you get hit by a boss, or by this boss in particularly, well, not in this mode, or not in this phase. Sorry, this phase. I'll explain when we get to that phase. But yeah, so I thought I had beat it in hard mode before, but I checked my memory card, and yeah, no, I'm guessing I didn't. So even, you know, years ago, because it's been, I would say, at least 10 years, as close to 10 years since I've played this series. Maybe a little under 10 years. So sometimes you won't dodge it and it'll hit you. So this phase, it's going to go in sort of like a cocoon. Well, it's a chrysalis, and it releases poison miasma on the ground floor. So you want to use your spider ball, because it's spider ball tracked all around. These little patches of tentacles are going to pop up. When they do, just power bomb them. Sometimes, if you're lucky, you can catch 2 tentacles next to each other and use 1 power bomb on the both of them. And I believe there's 10 tentacles altogether, so really trying to get 2 tentacles in one does help you on your ammo. Because I think you have a total of 10 ammo of power bombs in your arsenal. You can get pickups to replenish them, but if you're trying to do it all in one go, you want to use those 10 to their most effective. See, like I got 2 right there in one hit. I think I'm gonna get 2 right here as well. So this is the final phase. This is the thing that kept killing me over and over again. So, as I explained, hard mode, you take more damage and the enemy is more tankier. I calculated it, I died so much, I'm like, you know what, how many hits can I take? What he will do, from time to time, as you go in this battle, he'll basically ramp me just like that. So he'll jump, he'll do a wave of dark energy. I believe in hard mode, you could take about 14 or 15 of those tackles. After that, you're pretty much guaranteed to die on the next hit, more or less. So what I'm doing here is I staggered him with my missiles, so now I'm using, it's called the Annihilator Beam. It does a combination of light and dark beam energy, and this has a more highly tuned homing feature. So now I have to wait to stagger him again. Yeah, and it's, I noticed right away, it was much more easier. I mean, it's normal mode compared to hard mode, to do it in this fashion. Those little white, I think they're like blobs of white energy or light energy. If you hit them with any weapon, they'll pop out energy, and then also missiles and light or dark ammo. So you'll basically replenish your stores if you need them. Yeah, see, so that in hard mode, that jumping attack he does, it's tremendously hard to avoid. And yeah, so this is pretty much the fight. You're dodging as much as you're able to and trying to hit him when he's changing the shades. So he's changing to a dark sort of shield and a light shield, but the Annihilator Beam, since it has both, it's effective against either one, and it has that homing function that really gears in towards his weakness. That attack is an annoyance, so it kind of throws you off. It freezes you, and it prevents you, it's what staggers you basically, it prevents you from moving or using any weapons for a short period of time. So what I'm going to do here is use the Dark Burst. So it's a charged weapon for the Dark Beam. And it released it, well, what it was supposed to do, the purpose of that was normally if you hit that with enemies for the Dark Burst, a lot of light ammo will be released. But for whatever reason, so I think I got a little bit, but normally it's like a ton of it will be released for you to replenish your weapons. I believe he's almost done here. Alrighty, so that was that fight. And what I skipped, the cutscene, you were collecting the last bit of energy from the energy transfer module that you have. So now we're going to escape. And I do like the escape scene here. So this music, it's pretty much in every Metroid game in some fashion or another. And there's the obligatory countdown as well. So we're going to transfer down through the light elevator. Here's a brief cutscene. This is the last master. So Dark Samus has two phases for this last fight of the game. So the first phase, for the first part, what it will do is kind of just like, you know, glit around the room. You won't be able to do any damage in this part. So it's going to charge up like a highly potent Phazon Beam. Again, you can try to do screw attack to avoid the damage if you're able to, or just sort of avoid it as best as you're able to. What you have to do here, it has adapted to your Dark Visor, so you switch to your Echo Visor, that's what that was, and you shoot a super missile at it. So again, it's going to do the Phazon Beam at you. Go into your Echo Visor, super missile. You're trying to push it to go into the next phase. That's what you're doing. Alright, so this is the final phase. What Dark Samus will do now is shoot you with a sort of a Phazon missile blast. Oh, we just got 100% logs. So it'll shoot you with a Phazon missile blast, and then also it'll release sort of like an exhaust of Phazon energy. You want to collect that and then shoot it back at it. Yeah, these missiles, they're kind of finicky, so sometimes it's fairly easy to avoid them, other times it's hard. When it exits that form with the shield, just super missile it, and that'll push it right back into that phase. See, so sometimes like that, collecting the Phazon, well, Phazon's hazardous to Samus's health, so when you're collecting it that much, I'm sort of making conjecture that if you collect too much, then that's when it causes damage, and then you get staggered out of doing that action. But if you connect just enough, you're able then to fire it like that. Like that was a good shot right there. And yeah, so in hard mode, for this fight, this was the fight that I couldn't get past. Again, it was hard mode. You're taking humongous damage. If you don't dodge these missiles, practically one missile will take away an energy tank. So you have 14 energy tanks. So again, that's like 14 hits. You might die from ingesting too much Phazon or collecting too much Phazon. And then what was happening towards the end of when I was attempting to do this in hard mode was the time kept running out. So I would get it down to like maybe an eighth or a tenth of its health, like about to die, and the time would just run out, and then you obviously die because this world is collapsing. That's what you're trying to escape from. But in normal mode, it's much more simple. So you sort of are more buffered with against their attacks, and the damage they take is more substantial compared to hard mode. And then one thing I wanted to also mention is I think I noticed during this fight that when it puts the shield down to sort of like, you know, like right now, when you do an attack with a super missile, I believe, I could be mistaken, but I think you're doing either a little bit tiny more damage compared to when you collect the Phazon and shoot it back at it, or just the same amount. But I kind of already gathered that, because it's hard to collect the Phazon shots, so I was pretty confident that even if I wasn't able to collect them, I could have just killed it using super missiles, which, you know, that just nods again, like, that's the drastic change between hard mode and normal mode. You can kill this boss, you know, towards the end with super missiles compared to needing to collect the Phazon. You have to have hit it directly with the Phazon a few times, but other than that, you know, in hard mode, you can't miss any Phazon collection and, like, you know, shooting it back at it. If you miss one, you're pretty much screwed at that point. See, like, that should have been a good shot, but I collected too much Phazon, and then it staggered Samus. Another thing that I found interesting, well, I think I understand the dynamics of it, but the Annihilator Beam has a higher sort of, what is it, like charge function. So it has a homing function when you fire it, but when you're charging in to collect items and such, you can collect them more readily with the Annihilator Beam compared with the charge beam. But I believe the rationale behind that was that the charge beam is in its basic form, so that's kind of the only thing that could readily collect the Phazon, compared with the Annihilator Beam, which has both the light beam and the dark beam on it. See, like right here, I was getting worried, but as I mentioned before, I think this is the last shot, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, so that was the last shot. But what I was going to say was, if I wouldn't have got that shot, I'm fairly certain I could have killed it with a super missile blast. I've always liked that scene because it looks as if right before Dark Samus touches you, its fingers like touch the light, so that light is representing the light of Aethar. That's the energy from the original Aether planet. So it's like it's unable to touch it, like it can't stand its sort of touch, so then it just dissolves away and it's killed. Now the planet is restabilized itself. And even this scene is incredible. So it's you learn about their culture. These are the Luminoth. They were all in stasis chambers before, but this just demonstrates sort of their ideals and their principles, how they treat outsiders. She's a complete outsider to their planet, and she went out of her way to help them. And I love her response. She's just like, "See you later, guys." Like, no problem. And because we have 100% of weapon pickups and 100% logs, we get the Zero Suit. And that is the game. So now we can leave the planet safely. There's no thunderstorms or planetary disturbance. And these, of course, are the credits. So while the credits roll, there's still a little bit of secrets to reveal, but while these credits are going, just wanted to thank you for watching. If you watched through the entire video, if not, you kind of sift back and forth different parts of it, that's cool too. You know, I appreciate anyone who's sort of open to the Prime series, or just sort of the games that I hope to be bringing to this channel. What else? I'm thinking of maybe doing some other videos regarding my Prime 2 playthrough, but we'll see how this video goes and if I'm in the mood for it or not. I wanted to make this video because I wasn't in the mood to stream the hard mode again, as I have explained multiple times already, because just it wasn't happening. I think during the live stream, my last live stream, on attempting the hard mode, I died about 4 or 5 times, and it was just getting incredibly frustrating, and you can only imagine how it was off stream. So kind of wanted to keep it more positive, more upbeat with this upload, in lieu of the live stream of it. What else though? So the next game that I'll be playing is Counter-Strike Condition Zero Deleted Scenes. So it's a FPS, first-person shooter game through Steam. And the basic outline, I'll explain this again when I do the live stream, of course, but the basic summary of it is you do different missions while playing high-profile military and police forces across the world. So I'm going to try to kind of gather what each force that you plays as. But yeah, so you'll go to different parts of the world. I believe, yes, I believe all of them, most of them. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken. I mean, I don't think it. I don't think Antarctica, of course, but I believe there's a mission in Siberia, if I'm not mistaken. But pretty much, you know, there's a forest mission. There's sort of like a swampy bog mission. Office mission. You go to Japan in a mission. What else? There's, I believe, a bank heist or some sort of like corporate espionage. Oh, and also, so I forgot. I played. So Counter-Strike was actually the one of the first games like I played with my friends. They introduced it to me in high school, so we used to stay up all night playing online. That was years ago, in the beginning of time, you know. But yeah, that was back when I started playing when I had dial-up, and yeah, yes, I did play dial-up, and that was a chore in and of itself. But it was a nice game. We still play it from time to time. A few of us do, and others as well. So I'm more attuned to Counter-Strike 1.6. That's the original Counter-Strike. I've played CZ, of course, Condition Zero. I attempted to get into Global Offensive or Go, but it really wasn't my thing. So again, just clarification, this is not hard mode. This was the normal mode ending for Metroid Prime 2 Echoes. So we got 100% of item collections and 100% of logbook scans. So we finished at 9 hours and 25 minutes. But it did promise further secrets to be revealed. So this introduced us to the premise for Prime 3. Alrighty, thank you again for watching my video. If you're more interested in the Prime series, I encourage you to go back and watch the live streams I've done. I also encourage you to join us in future live streams. As I said before, the next game I'll be live streaming is Counter-Strike Condition Zero Deleted Scenes, and then we will wrap up the Prime series with Metroid Prime 3 Corruption on the Wii. And then the next series after that will be the Half-Life series. So I'll start out with Black Mesa, and then I'll move on to Half-Life 2, and then Half-Life 2 Episode 1, and Half-Life 2 Episode 2, and with, of course, other games in between. I'm real excited for the series of Half-Life. It's another series I enjoy playing, so I hope to see you again in future live streams, and I'm always willing to hang out with you guys and chat during live streams.